So, welcome everybody to AI chatbot alternatives to ChatGPT for accounting professionals. Table of contents. We'll do a quick intro about myself, about this series, because this is part of a multi-webinar series I've been doing in CPA Academy related to ChatGPT and AI. Then we'll quickly discuss the topics we will not cover, just to give you a general idea. Okay, this is not what the webinar is all about. And then we'll go deep into some of the apps that I want to showcase. There's about 8 apps in total. It's a 1 hour webinar. Let's see if we can get to all of them. But I like to give you a general idea on what's out there, so you don't just get stuck with thinking that ChatGPT is the only way to look at AI or to work with AI. So by myself, I'm a CPA. I practice bookkeeping and accounting since 2009. I'm an advanced certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. I was also awarded QSP Partner of the Year for QuickBooks in 2003. I am a podcaster. I have a podcast called the Unofficial QuickBooks Accountants Podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I founded a app for QuickBooks. It's called Right Tool. And my biggest and most time-consuming of all of my ventures is my conference coming up in October, Reframe 2024. And we'll discuss that in a little bit. There's my email address. Most important thing, if I don't cover something, if something wasn't clear, if you have kind of a wish list of what the next CPA Academy webinars focused on AI should be, email me. Any questions about any of the stuff that I do, email me. I'm pretty good at answering emails, especially to my friends and colleagues in the accounting world. So if you have not taken the ChatGPT basics sessions, go over to those links that are on the slides so you can check out parts 1 and parts 2. It's not a prerequisite, but if you want to get some context in terms of what ChatGPT is and what ChatGPT can do, you definitely want to check out parts 1 and 2. And the links are there. Make sure you go to those, check those out. So maybe later on you can get the full context of what we're calling the whole series. So really quick, there are no sponsors for this webinar. The closest thing to a sponsor is me being able to talk about my big event. So if you want to learn how to have more influential conversations for accountants, if you want to sort of go beyond what ChatGPT can do and see where is the edge that human accountants are going to have in this world, we are all going to explore how to communicate our value better, how to be more influential, more effective with our pricing, more effective with our salesmanship, more effective with our ideas and our advisory to our clients. Come down to Hollywood, Florida, reframe2024.com. If you purchase the tickets on the early bird dates, before the early bird dates, there's the 2 coupon codes. We are about 70% capacity, and we sold out last year on 2023's event. So we're pretty certain we're going to sell out this year as well. Again, if you have any questions, email me. Thank you very much for the audience for this, and let's get right to it. So let's start with what we're not going to cover. So first of all, why is ChatGPT king? And again, we're not going to go into ChatGPT, show you how to use ChatGPT, none of that stuff. But the reason why we're using ChatGPT as a comparison point is because the only reason you're in this webinar is because it's called Alternatives to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has a meaning to you. It means something to you. You understand ChatGPT. It is synonymous with AI, okay? It's the first major LLM. This is called large language model. It's a technical term for what ChatGPT does to take the world by storm. Over 100 million active users. It's backed by Microsoft. Microsoft took a 49% ownership stake with a $10 billion investment. They are at $3.4 billion in revenue this year. This company came seemingly out of nowhere. It is the most used API. So when other applications say we use AI, or we have AI features, there's a 95% chance that they're probably using ChatGPT's or OpenAI's API to resolve that or get that AI to do whatever it does. So OpenAI has become the world's AI engine. It's got a full set of features: web search, chat, reading images, reading files, creating images, analyzing spreadsheets, creating graphs, listening to audio and transcribing that, answering back with audio, and coming soon video creation. ChatGPT is king, it's the most popular, it's the biggest, it's the most powerful. Will that be like that forever? I don't know. But there's a 100% free version available. You can even play with ChatGPT without even having an account. So that's why we use ChatGPT as the comparison point, and we say alternatives to ChatGPT. For whatever reason, people maybe don't like ChatGPT, don't like OpenAI, or maybe they want to see what else is out there. And I think even though I'm saying ChatGPT is the best and probably the most powerful and the one that you should be looking at, blah, 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 I think it's really valuable for you to see everything that's out there to give you an idea of, some apps are going to be more specialized and they're going to be more focused on a particular task. And I'm actually going to go over and explain all that stuff. The other things that we're not going to be discussing is CoPilot for Microsoft 360. So whenever people hear the word CoPilot, they think of two things. One, they think of Microsoft AI. And two, they think of the fully integrated AI into your Microsoft operating system, your Microsoft Windows operating system, your Microsoft Office files, your computer files. We're not going to discuss that. If you want to get a general idea of what that is, and that's still kind of in development. Some large companies have access to that, but there's links to that. So if you want to check out what that means, we're not going to get into that at all. Okay, so none of the built-in into your operating system type of AI. We're going to be focusing on chatbots. There's also Gemini for Google Workspace or for G Suite, which is similar to Copilot for 365, where Google's AI is across all your Google assets, your email, your spreadsheet, your Google Sheets, your Google Docs, and it has access to the data as well. So we're not going to discuss that. These are all two huge can of worms that I'm just not ready to discuss that, at least not in these webinars. Probably in the future we can get into like how those work. And we're also not going to get into the built-in AI solutions that are current or envisioned in the accounting related apps. Like QuickBooks has something called Intuit Assist, which is built-in AI chatbots inside QuickBooks and all other Intuit assets like TurboTax and that sort of thing. Zoho, who is a competitor to both Microsoft and Intuit QuickBooks, has something called ZIA or ZIA that's also built into the entire system. Makers Hub is an incredible app that can do accounts payable management and has tons of AI power. So we're not going to get into that. Bill.com has AI. Xero has AI. Sage has AI. The point is, we're not going to get into each of the individual AI featurettes inside of other accounting softwares. We could do future webinars on that, but that's not what we're going to be discussing. So let's shift over on to what we are going to be discussing. We're going to do a quick comparison across multiple chatbots. So first thing I'm going to recommend you to do is in this slide, there is a link, and that link will take you to a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet, I'm going to be forever changing and updating. Okay, so every time there's a change, I'm going to come up here in the top and update that. So you want to save that into your favorites. And as these group of apps and maybe new ones come along that are good comparison points to ChatGPT, I'm going to continuously go in there and update it and add notes and stuff like that, because unfortunately this resource didn't exist until a couple of weeks ago when I put this webinar together. So I would love to be that source, especially for accounting pros, in terms of, okay, I want to get into AI and I have so many options. I have ChatGPT, I have Claude, I have all these things. And, how do I compare them? So this particular sheet, that's a public sheet, have access to it, save it, put it in your favorites, whatever you got to do. Often go back to it and reference it, because I'm going to go and always be updating this. Okay, so I want to make sure you have access to that. That link is on the slides. Okay, let's talk about the apps that we're going to showcase. So we're going to split this up into two categories. Category one, we're going to talk about accounting specific chatbots. So these two chatbots actually use ChatGPT, okay? But they've been custom programmed to work specifically for accounting professionals. So we have Spark by Rootworks, which started as a practice management bot. And basically, if you have an accounting firm and you have questions how to run a firm, Spark was custom programmed to use the power of ChatGPT, but also deliver the type of answers that the group over at Rightworks, which acquired a company called Rootworks, who's been in the practice management, CPA education world for a very long time, they've loaded a lot of their own custom knowledge. So it's a combination between ChatGPT and that. So we're gonna do that. And they're creating they're still developing a beta of tax research, which is going to be competing with CPA Pilot. And CPA Pilot also a ChatGPT based or OpenAI API based app. That one is mostly, for the most part, a tax research bot. And I've been talking to those guys. They have an incredible vision for what they want to do with CPA Pilot. They're starting to build in the bookkeeping stuff, the accounting stuff, the audit stuff, but they started by just focusing on tax research. And our firm, the firm that I work with that does all the tax work, because I actually don't do any more taxes as of last year, but I sold my tax practice. But that firm that kept my tax practice, they implemented CPA Pilot last year, and they told me that it's been extremely helpful for them to get just quick tax questions answered, or at least get a starting point. And their focus is, instead of just giving answers, only giving answers that are tied to source documents, like so actual real source documents, real IRS published documents, that sort of thing. Then after we talk about those two, then we're going to talk about the generic chatbots, the generic competitors to ChatGPT, and we'll go over all those: Perplexity, Poe, Claude, Google Gemini, Microsoft CoPilot, and Meta. So let's start by going into Spark by Rightworks. So I'm going to open up Spark by Rightworks, and this is a chatbot. Okay, so it's like OpenAI. It is a chatbot. When you go into chat, notice that it has this thing called Choose Assistant. And then you can click on the drop-down menu, and they have pre-programmed based on the type of questions you're going to ask, again, within the context of an accounting firm. So for example, if you want the person to be a firm owner, so you want to ask another successful firm owner, how would you manage this? How would you manage that? That bot has been custom programmed to answer those type of questions. If you have HR questions, if you have client relations, something like that. Okay, so let's just, for example, let's go into HR Spark and say, I have my highest, let's say I'm gonna ask him, I have my highest paid employee asking for a raise because a big four is offering 20% more. How should I handle this, right? So how should I handle this? Okay. So again, this has been 100% customized to work on accounting, right? So accounting context. So we're going to click on ask, and then they custom program based on their internal knowledge on how they are suggesting, right? How the AI would suggest it within the custom context on how you should manage this. So here's a couple things, on how you should manage it. It gives you obviously all the tips. It's very similar to how ChatGPT would do it, but I welcome for you to compare them, right? You compare this and what ChatGPT would do, and ChatGPT would probably be a little bit more generic, whereas this would be more focused on addressing more of the accounting context. Okay, so it gives you, for example, it talks a lot about professional development opportunities. It talks about, uses the term firm, so it actually does make sure it writes a letter for you, that sort of thing. Nothing about this is conceptually innovative, because ChatGPT can do this too. But the point I want to make here is that this has been custom programmed for accounting firms. Okay, if you click here, it says IRS Publications Beta, and you upgrade to the team plan, then they also have where you can search, and it only gives you answers from IRS publications. So it's 100% a chatbot of an IRS publication. It's also a really, really neat one as well. So that's Spark by Rightworks. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things to showcase, custom chatbots and stuff like that. There's actually this thing called assistants, and it here all the assistants are pre-built for you, but you can also create your own custom chatbots, your own custom assistants, and you have to give it a context and say, hey, I want you to act like a high growth tax firm, and then add some context, maybe maybe your strategic thoughts about how you want to take your business. And then you can chat with a custom chatbot that you have built a custom assistance for. So it's actually really cool. Again, it mimics ChatGPT, but again, they are trying to build a product that is accountant focused, and that way you as an accounting professional are not distracted trying to be like trying to understand all these generic chat tools. You're using this specifically for your accounting firm. Okay, CPA Pilot will be the next one that I'll show you. So let's open up CPA Pilot. Where are you? There we go. And then this one's actually really good for like tax stuff. So I'm gonna say something like my client. Let me zoom in a little bit. My client says their friend hired their kids in their business to get a write off and is asking me about it. How do I answer and send them actual uh, sites from IRS or Treasury with more details or something like that? Okay, again, the point is this is going to be more of a tax engine. Okay, so CPA Pilot, one of the things that they kind of wanted to focus in is can we create a chatbot that's really really good for accounting professionals, and their focus has been for the most part tax. Okay, so here's the answer. Hiring children. Okay, hold on, let's wait until this thing finishes. Okay, there we go. So hiring children can be a legitimate tax strategy. Here's a couple of bullet points. Is it legitimate? Is it reasonable? Is there documentation, tax benefits and deduction, et cetera, et cetera. Then it gives you links to the publications that might be relevant. Like this child care center might not be as relevant, but maybe in these two publications, topic 103 and publication 583, there could be some resources. And then here's a draft for you to write with all the links. So no chatbot is perfect or anything like that, but this gives you a general idea how this one is really focused towards that tax professional. And you can start a new chat and then do other things like top 10 ways to save on taxes as a S corp owner. Let's do top 5. Top 5 ways save. What's it? Legitimately. You probably don't even have to write legitimately, right? Do it just for fun. Okay, so you can ask that. And then this one's, again, because it's CPA Pilot, is very much focused on being somewhere between technical and accurate, and also friendly towards a tax professional that's looking to have enough context to be able to help their clients through it. Okay, and then you can even ask it for give me a few source links to reference. Okay, and then you present, and then it will actually go and get you source links, and it knows within the context that it should look at real things. Like it's looking at IRS, it's looking at this, so it's not doing like a Google search and giving you random things from Google. Like it's focused on 100% IRS links and source documents. So it gives you a general idea for what that is. So again, I'm very excited for developers that look for this very niche type of solution. And this is why CPA Pilot is more expensive than everything else, because obviously they have a much smaller number of users that would be looking at this tool, and the amount of research they have to do and customization is going to be really really intense compared to what the average the approach to using an average chatbot. Okay, so those are the two that I found that are accounting specific that I think are worth they're worth of looking at. Okay, that $20 a month seems to be the sweet spot. Okay, Spark, Perplexity, Poe, Claude, Microsoft CoPilot, they're all around that $20 a month. So kind of keep that in mind. ChatGPT is also between $20 and $30 a month. Let's go to Perplexity. Now, Perplexity has become one of my favorite general research tools. So let me start by kind of giving you a rundown on before we go into this app, on what makes each of these apps unique. So what makes Perplexity unique, especially the paid version, is that Perplexity is very much a Google on steroids type of AI. It's focused on research. So if you want to go search the web in a deep way, go across multiple search engines, draw conclusions and relationships between multiple things that is finding, Perplexity is probably one of the very best ones. So, for example, if I wanted to do a deep research on what, let's say, what are the most obscure, let's do what are the most obscure tax deductions that you can find on the web. So it would be deduction. Let me see, tax deduction strategies, maybe. Okay, tax deductions strategies that you can find on the web. And one thing you will, already from my webinars is, I don't prepare the answers and give you prepared answers. I try to work with these things the same way you would work. So think, I'm looking at the chat, I'm looking at the questions you guys have, that sort of thing. And I'm trying to adapt to like what people are asking for. So this is like in the real world, that's the type of things that you would the type of way you would work with these apps. You're basically experimenting. So I want to make sure that you kind of see this as a friendly way for you to experiment with AI. So the pro search goes out there and searches a couple of sources. So it tells you all the sources that it searched. Okay, it goes through them and it searches them. You can go and you can visit anyone in particular. And what's also cool is you can remove one in particular. So if I'm looking at one that's like, you know what, this one actually I don't like. So you just click here and click on remove source, and then it readapts and recontextualizes the search based on the particular one that you didn't like, and it'll redo it for you. So it's pretty neat. So it goes out there, it searches across multiple search engines, gets multiple pieces of information, and then it uses a combination of the AI engines and then what it found to then build its answer. So check this out. So the first one was beer taste testing. Professional beer testers may be able to deduct expenses and the related work. And here's a link to that. Okay, animal expenses. Okay, while pet expenses are generally not deductible, here are some exceptions. So it's gonna be a combination between like weird things that people are claiming to be deductible and maybe not. This is not necessarily checking against IRS code or tax code. So this is the difference, right? With CPA Pilot, with Spark, it would only search IRS. This one's searching the web. So it's a different point of view. Now, I'm not telling you this is going to give you a better answer or a worse answer. I'm just telling you what it's out there. But the really cool thing about Perplexity, especially if you want to use this for like content strategy, is you can click up here to the top right. This is probably the most unique thing that there is. And you can click on convert to page. And what that does is when you convert to page, it creates like a Wikipedia style article, which is really neat. And it gets it started for you. And then you can start with strange deductions. And basically it allows you to create pages. And basically you just start giving it titles. And then based on the context, it starts building the page for you. Okay, and then we can see illegal write-offs. Okay, and then basically again you start building the page as it goes. Again, it uses the original search, that context, and then it starts building things for you. So you can build like this Wikipedia style articles. You can add images. You can even generate images, within the context of the article itself. So it's really cool. Like Perplexity, I mean, they're very innovative in terms of how you can use them to have all sorts of really interesting write-offs. Of course, because it started with the whole beer tasting thing, it put this picture on it. So it gives you it's kind of an interesting concept. Again, and you can play with the layout. Again, this is like really like a Google deep research on steroids, and I love the fact that it helps you build um, pages, right? So you can put this on your website. You can publish this. You can publish this in Twitter. You can copy the link. So it creates a page, and that page is searchable. And then at the end, of course, you can promote your business or whatever. And then it has related suggestions in the bottom that you can then go into, like sort of deep into it, and you can go deeper into it. Now this is mostly this is actually on the paid version only, but Perplexity also has a free version that you can test out, which I'll probably worth just showcasing that. Let me just go back to homepage here. So if you don't click on this little pro checkbox, then it's just like a regular, it's 100% just like a regular chatbot. So we can put here top 5 tax deductions for S Corp owners. And then this is going to behave a lot more like a chatbot. It won't do the conversion to the pages. It does show you the resources. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Perplexity will search across the web, whereas the other ones will only maintain it within the IRS or original tax relay. Sources, authoritative sources. Okay, so in that case, Perplexity can also work just like a regular chatbot. Okay, cool. All right, the next one I'm gonna show you is u.com, and it's very similar to po.com. So I'm just gonna put them next to each other. They're like almost like they both developed them at the same time. So u.com and po.com, okay, very similar. Okay, the really cool thing about it is a chatbot. It's like a normal chatbot, but there's a little more button that allows you to choose which of the chat engines you want to use. And it has ChatGPT as one of them, it has Claude as one of them, it has Llama as one of them, Gemini, etc. Po.com also does that. So what I like about these is if you're the type of person that wants to experiment with multiple engines and not have to buy Perplexity, or not Perplexity, a Claude subscription, a ChatGPT subscription, a Google Gemini subscription, you can get one of these and then just choose which one you want, and then you can compare the outputs. So let's say if I choose here ChatGPT 4 Mini and I say top 3 deductions for new parents or something like that. Okay, I'm just gonna copy that and paste. Okay, so this is the answer that ChatGPT gives me. But within the same platform, what's really cool about it is within the same platform, I don't have to go to another website. I can go to a new chat, and then maybe I can choose, let's go to a new chat here, and then I can choose not ChatGPT. I could choose maybe Llama, see what Llama would answer. Llama is Facebook's one, and then click on search. And again, it's really neat because you are looking, you're doing the same platform and you're using different AIs to research. So ChatGPT gave me child tax credit, dependent care credit, medical expense deduction, and it gave it to me in this very brief format. And if you look at Llama, it did it similar answers, but it went a little bit deeper. Dependent exception, child dependent care, and then some additional tips. So these are Po and U. They work similar because you can also do it here with you. You could choose, the model, right? The AI model. What's cool about either one of these is you can experiment with multiple within one. So I like what they're doing there. The challenge I would tell you with those two is that the amount of chats that you can have, the amount of credits that they give you to chat, is a lot less than if you actually go straight into Claude or go straight into ChatGPT. Like I feel that the limits for how much chat you can have per hour or per day or whatever, they're gonna be much better when you're purchasing directly through ChatGPT or Claude or some of the big ones. Whereas these Perplexities, this Pose, all of these consolidators of multiple AI engines, because they have to pay all these AI engines, every time they do a query. I feel they're just much more limited. They don't give you as many messages, as much. You have just more limit in terms of how much you can use it in a daily basis. Okay, let's go to Anthropic, and this is the big one. And what I call by the big one is this is probably the second most valuable AI company out there. So it would be ChatGPT, and then second would be Anthropic Claude. I actually actively pay for ChatGPT and pay for Claude. All the other ones I paid for only to prepare for this webinar. But the only two that I think it's worth paying for is these two, and then my tax firm is using CPA Pilot. But for my own research, for what I do, Claude and ChatGPT are the two best ones. So what's really cool about Claude, but I mean, there's so many things that are cool about Claude, it's just super powerful. And in many benchmarks, it's actually beaten ChatGPT at certain things. So I'm gonna go a little bit deeper with Claude. I'm actually gonna click on add content, and then I'm gonna take a like a bank statement. I'm gonna upload it, and just to give you some context before I upload it, the bank statement kind of looks like this. Okay, it's got beginning balance, ending balance, has a whole bunch of transactions. The way I just kind of build this in Excel, but it looks just like a bank statement. And then I'm gonna have Claude with a PDF of the bank statement. I'm gonna say build a P&L and balance sheet from this statement as of 01/31/2023. And I'll press send. And while that kind of thinks, again, I'm going to show you the statement again. So I kind of took, what the top of the chase looks like, the beginning balance, ending balance, and I PDF'd it. This link that I'm showing you here is one that you can download yourself and you can print it. So if you want to play with it, it's like a mock statement. It's actually, I made it public so you guys can download a PDF and get it. And the links are on the slides. So you yourself go out there into all these AIs and plug that in and kind of see what that looks like. That way you don't have to use a real bank statement, okay? Because I don't work for any of these companies. I don't know. I can't guarantee you this stuff is as secure as they claim to be. So right now, I only upload things that don't show customer information, that don't show personal information. Okay, so that's a really important thing. So here's that with Claude. It's really interesting. You get the chat on the left side kind of starts going through like what a regular chat box would do. It starts answering stuff. It tells you, it prepared the P&L and balance sheet. It explains what it did. It kind of explains. It gives you a quick. So again, this doesn't understand that doesn't know I'm a CPA, right? So it's explaining to me what things are, and doing all that stuff at the same time. If I click here on the P&L balance sheet, it opens here on the right hand side. And here's my P&L. So here's what it thinks is revenue, okay? And then here's what it thinks is expenses. And then here's what it thinks the net income is. And here's what the balance sheet is, total assets, equity. So it just kind of builds it with what it has, okay? And you can even go every deeper and say, turn this into a Schedule C. Turn this into a Schedule C. Okay, and then we can put here IRS. Form 1040. I probably don't even have to put IRS Form 1040 on it, but I'm just doing it here. So I could turn this into a Schedule C. So then it will take the information and it will actually now start categorizing it. Okay, so let's wait until it does that. Give it a chance. And there we go. So now it's using the actual categories from Schedule C. So it put, advertising from Google AdWords, $500. It put insurance from Geico. It put the Office Depot stuff in Office Expense. It put the rent here that read it from one of the checks. It put here tax and licenses for the Department of Revenue, which might be wrong. Maybe that's a different issue, but then it got the travel. It got the Verizon, which it tells right here. It assumes it's a phone bill and all the other expenses. So it kind of just breaks it down for you. So what I'm kind of showing you here is that we're getting very, very close where AI is going to be able to take bank statements and be able to create this pro forma tax returns. Okay. Now you could argue all day long that some of these things are wrong, and so yeah, that's valid. I'm not going to take that away. I'm just kind of showing you so you understand, the power of these things. So I particularly like Claude because it's like ChatGPT. It's very much sort of multimedia. Like you can upload images, you can do all sorts of things. The other thing I really like about Claude, like if I wanted to really sell you on Claude, is you can have this thing called projects. And what projects is, it's like a custom chatbot, and I can create a project around that bank statement, and then I can have like deep chat conversations, go back to it. Like it's not just a simple chat, like I have multiple chats with it. So we can put analysis, we can do analysis of bank statements. Just call this analysis of bank statements. And then we are going to analyze multiple bank and credit card statements for company A, B, C, or something like that. Okay. So we analyze, I don't know why this is spelled incorrectly. Then you click on create project and it becomes sort of its own thing. And then here on the right hand side, that's where you upload all sorts of things. So I can set custom instructions and say, we ultimately want to create a P&L and balance sheet at the end of the work. Okay, of the work. So that basically becomes custom instructions, so I don't have to explain it over and over and over. And then we're gonna put something else here. I'm gonna add more text context and put we are a CPA firm. Do not explain any basics to us. Okay, and then you keep adding text. You keep adding text context. You can add a Word file if you have a really long one. You have a Word file. You can load all sorts of context in here, and it tells you what percentage of the knowledge size is used. There's a limit, and you can also upload documents. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and upload that bank statement, and then this becomes the project. That means we always go back to this project. For example, if I go back into Claude, okay, it's a regular chatbot, but I could always go back into projects and then pick any of these projects. Like this one's called QuickBooks related stuff, and then I I upload it. You know, I can upload maybe manuals and stuff like that about QuickBooks, or create custom instructions that is only QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online or whatever. So when I'm asking it questions, I don't have to re-explain or recontextualize every single conversation, like such as this analysis of bank statements. I already told it the custom instructions. I already uploaded the statement. So I can put here, what is the revenue for January? Okay, and I just ask a question. And then I could have uploaded 12 months worth of bank statements, but it's all within that project. Okay, so that's actually the really cool thing. So it goes in there and does the analysis for you. And then maybe you can even ask it another question in an entirely different chat. So I can go back into Claude, right? I can go into projects. There is my analysis of bank statements. I click on that. Notice that there's one chat. I can start a brand new chat without having to re-upload the documents, without having to reload the context. So I could put something like, which of the expenses in the statement could be categorized in the balance sheet instead. Okay. So then I'm going to hit send, and it's actually going to go analyze and then give you its understanding of what kind of things could go in the balance sheet and not in the P&L. So you have stuff like an ATM deposit, and explains why. If these deposits represent cash moved between accounts, they might be a balance sheet transaction. Online transfers. Okay, so we have this $1,000 in this day and that day. These are transferred between accounts. That could be a balance sheet transaction. There's a check written to petty cash. That could be a balance sheet transaction. So it just kind of walks you through. Oh, look at this Office Depot, a different concept. This could be a fixed asset. So again, once again, this is a project, right? That I can go back over and over and over and start new chats, resume old chats. It's really, really neat. Like, this is probably one of my favorite general AI chatbots. Not focused on accounting per se, but it's just extremely powerful. So that's why ChatGPT and Claude to me are basically the most powerful options. Okay. Next one, I want to talk about Google Gemini for Business. I'll be honest with you, this is something I've just started working with. This is Google's version of this. I just implemented it in my firm. So we're playing around with different possibilities. You can upload images, but you can't upload PDF documents. Okay, so that's kind of a challenge for me. So probably the first thing that kind of annoys me about it, to be honest with you, that hey, I'm so used to being able to upload documents in um, Claude and ChatGPT that it's like, really, am I really going to end up paying, for Google's AI if I can't upload documents? So this is where I think Google kind of falls short, and Google's always sort of fell short in the AI world. But as I mentioned earlier, we're not going to discuss the real deep potential that this has, which is interact with all your Google documents. I'm going to show you just a quick example of that. So once I started, I noticed that once I implemented, when I started paying for once I started paying for Gemini, when I go create a document, I now see these options here that say meeting notes, email draft, it gives you a couple of AI built-in tools in it, and it's in my email. So it's in Sheets also. So like when you open Google Sheets, let's say I open this thing here. So when you open Google Sheets, sometimes it gives you this little thing here that has a little star. That's all AI stuff. Okay, so it starts turning on little features here and there that give you AI tools, and then it's sort of built in, right? So you can do more contextual AI within the Google apps, like in this case, Google Sheets, right? So teach me how to do conditional formatting, create formulas, that sort of thing. So that's the type of things that I'm starting to see a lot more after I turned on the Gemini account. That my assets are now popping up all these little AI helpers, so to speak. But the chat itself, that what I wanted to show you is the chat itself. You can upload images, but you can't upload documents. But one of the things I'm going to show you is, let's say, for example, I'm in QuickBooks Online and I'm in the reconciliation page or something like that, and I could take a screenshot of this page, okay, which is actually kind of interesting. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of this page and go into Gemini. I'm gonna upload that screenshot, and then I'm gonna ask it, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, again, I took a screenshot of, like, I'm in QuickBooks and I don't know what I'm doing. I just took a screenshot of it, and then I went into Gemini, uploaded the image, and say, what can we do here? And then, well, check it out. Now this says we're working on ability to improve the images. Even the images itself doesn't seem to be even working at this moment. So that's the thing that kind of drives me crazy about the Google AI stuff. That doesn't seem to be working too well. So like the image thing didn't even work. Whereas if I go back into Claude, for example, and I'm just going to go to a Claude project and I do upload the content and I upload the image, and then I'm going to ask it the same thing I asked it, which is, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, I'm going to go into Claude. I uploaded my screenshot, ask it, what am I supposed to do here? Claude will give me a good answer, and ChatGPT will give me a good answer. So it actually goes in there, analyzes it, takes a look at the numbers, tells you how the page works. So it does have, it does start giving you some much better context, right? This is what you should be doing in this page. Okay. Again, very disappointed that Google can't do that, but let's at least do an example of something Google can do. Let's maybe ask a similar question that we had here. Top 5 tax deductions for S Corp owners. Let's go here into Gemini, ask this question, and it will give you a good answer. So, I mean, the Google AI is not bad per se. It's just, it's not as powerful, right? Like the multimedia stuff, which is the stuff that I value from all the other ones, it doesn't work, but it does work. It is a chatbot. It does give you an answer. And then what's really cool is you can grab any one of these things, and ChatGPT has this too, but you can grab these things, click on modify this text, and you can tell it longer. And then it can grab from that answer, it could just make one particular piece longer, and then maybe I can grab this one here and then modify it, and then I can put shorter. Okay, and then I will make it a little bit shorter. So that's the innovation that it has. Like the other chatbots kind of don't have that, where you can customize, make this one short, make this one long, that sort of thing. But it's cool as well. Again, I don't want to knock it 100% because it didn't read the image. But again, it's a competitor to ChatGPT, not as powerful. I'm more excited, particularly for Google Gemini. I'm more excited about what it's going to do once it interacts with all my other G Suite or my Google for Business stuff. Okay, let's go into Microsoft CoPilot. I would probably say this is probably one of the worst of all the chatbots. The interface to me is just like really, really ugly. Okay, like it's just not as friendly as I wish it could be, or maybe I'm so used to all the other ones. There's something cool that Microsoft has, which I'll show you a little bit, which is called the Bing Deep Research. But as a chatbot itself, can't bring myself to actually pay for this. I am paying for the Pro just because I was testing it out, but I wouldn't actually pay for it, at least not yet. I think that once Microsoft implements this in your operating system, then it's going to be a whole another ballgame. But I'm just not too impressed about Microsoft Copilot. But let's do the same thing. Let's grab maybe this question that we had. What was the question? I forget what the question was, or the original question that we had on the deduction for the parents. What was it? Top 3 deductions for new parents. Let's do that. So let's go into Copilot and let's search the same thing. Do the chatbot search, and then this is how Copilot works. Okay, so you get a very similar answer. The dependency exception, child tax credit, education savings plan. What's cool about, in my opinion, Copilot is it shows you always the sources. That's the one thing that's really cool about it. But other than that, I just can't see it being any more powerful than all the other tools. So again, I'm having a tough time figuring out what the value proposition of Copilot is just as a chatbot. Okay. Now, down here in the right, this seems really interesting, which is the plugins, which is they are partnering with particular companies where you can turn on these different things. Okay, and then once you start turning on the plugins, you can change the experience on how the chat is being searched. Again, none of this stuff really useful for accounting professionals or accounting context, but this is a different thing, okay, that Microsoft is doing. However, one thing that's worth mentioning is Bing's search. So let me show you something. So Bing has been trying to become more relevant. So if you do a Bing search, which most people don't use Bing, but if I were to search top 3 deductions for parents, okay, and then I just do a search, and it's just a regular search. This is just like the way Google would search. There's a little button here that says deep search, and it's really cool. What it does is it creates this sort of dashboard of searches where it's using a combination of the search results and ChatGPT summarization and organization of ideas. And this is probably the only place that you can start kind of seeing Microsoft Bing sort of competing with Google in the search space. You have an article here or an excerpt of one of the pages, and then you can chat with the particular page, which is really interesting. So this page called 5 Ways to Minimize Your Tax Credits as Parents, or Maximize, sorry. You can actually chat within that page, which is really interesting. So it contextually chats within that find. And then it has multiple sort of like recent, has like a history on the right-hand side of all the different things that you have searched. But I'm going to go back into my deep search again. You have a couple of quick summaries here on the right-hand side. Okay, and you can click on any of them and then kind of go to the next page and then go deeper into those new titles, sort of like new title ideas for your search. So the deep search, it's really interesting. And this is not part of Copilot. This is part of just regular Bing search. And you don't have to pay for this. So I would say this Bing search is probably a little bit more powerful than the Copilot chat in itself. And what's also really cool is if you find any of these links that you like, instead of clicking on it and committing to it, you just click on this little light bulb, and it summarizes the page for you before you actually go and click into it. So I think this is just incredible. So like this deep search thing that Bing is doing, it's just really great, really, really great. Okay, and the last one here is Meta AI Facebook. So this one's free, which is probably its only value proposition. So this one's free, and then you can you just chat with it. What's cool about it is, and some people might not like it, but you can initiate this from Facebook. You can initiate this from Instagram. You can initiate this from WhatsApp. Okay, so Meta or the Facebook companies, they've taken all their assets and then made them all accessible. They made the AI accessible through all of their channels. So this is the main engine. This is the web-based engine, and then from here we can do the same thing. Top 3 tax deductions for new parents. Click on send, and then it'll start giving you the answer. So as you can tell, at this point, from using the same example over and over and over, they all give about the same answer, which, by the way, that's actually a good thing. Okay, that means that they're all getting better and better at just doing getting better information, more holistic approach to finding information. Is hallucinating less and less. So that's the cool thing about Meta. Again, Meta is free, so I would say that's probably its own value proposition. There's no like mechanism to pay. There's no pro version. I don't know what the end goal for Facebook is, but it's 100% free. Something that you can continue to use. And you can also create images. So you can imagine anything. You can go to image, and then you can put a frustrated accountant that is not getting documents from their clients. That was really interesting, as you can tell. It's as you type stuff, it changes the image. I'm gonna put on the weekend, okay, or whatever it is. So it's just really interesting how it gives you kind of like this live preview on the computer. Okay, right? So it's just really cool. Like the Facebook image generation is like insane in terms of speed and how it even reacts to that. So I'm gonna put here a bunch of tax returns. Okay, well, kind of okay, I guess. Let's do a bunch of cash burning in flames. There you go. So it's just incredible. Like this is the part where maybe um, Facebook has a really big edge, and I don't know why Facebook particular will have a better edge than Google, or ChatGPT or whatever. But just the speed of image creation for these things, again, maybe not that relevant to accountants, but I'm trying to give you all angles here. I'm trying to give you accountant examples, non-accountant examples. Again, I'm trying to whet your appetite into the world of AI. So those are the main chatbots that we discussed. You also want to look in the slides. We have these other things that are called more alternatives to ChatGPT. So we have this thing called Grok. Now, is Grok is actually a chip company. Like, they make hardware, and they're trying to showcase how fast the AI is. So if I paste this, I just want to show you how quickly it gives an answer. So I'm gonna click on send. I have to log in now. I guess that's new. Let me log into it. Let me log into it real quick. Okay, so that's how quickly it did that, and they showcase the speed. So this is interesting because they are using different models similar to Poe and Ju. You can choose which model you want. They don't have them all. Like, for example, ChatGPT is not here, but Llama is here. Llama is Facebook. And then there's Gemma, which is Google's. So there's a couple of, you could choose which chatbot you want to interact with, and then ask your question, press enter. And again, it's trying to be the fastest AI chip company in the world. And some of the benefits that we get is you get a free chatbot out of it, basically. Okay, so it's kind of a testing of speed. So this is just incredibly fast on how Grok works. So something else you can take a look at. There's also Grok with a K, which is Elon Musk's company. I'm not a big supporter of the shenanigans that go on in the Elon Musk company world, so I'm not gonna pay for it. But that's something for you to take a look at it. If you pay for X Premium, or what used to be Twitter, you get access to Grok with a K. There's also Hugging Chat, which is very similar to Grok in this case, which gives you access to choosing which model you want to chat with. So here's Meta, the Meta Llama, which is the Facebook one. You can activate it, make that the chat, and then I can ask the same question. Okay, press enter, and then you get a chat box. So that's called Hugging Chat, and that's one not as fast as you could tell. Still thinking about it, but just another alternative to ChatGPT, and that one's actually taking a little longer than usual. Of course, when you compare with the other Grok that I showed you, it's kind of like, oh, wow, that's incredible. So, all right, so this thing just congratulated me for having for having kids. This stuff happens. But for example, like I was researching for this webinar, I asked it, what are some alternatives to ChatGPT, and I'm using Hugging Face as well to do my research. So again, I'm trying to give you all the potential resources out there. And the last one that's kind of exciting is this one called Chatbot Arena. Okay, I have a slide on this. And Chatbot Arena allows you to compare head to head. So I find that to be particularly interesting. So you go into Arena side by side. You pick the two models. So I want to see Claude versus ChatGPT. You ask it a question, okay? And you can click on send, and it gives you both answers side by side. So if you're still trying to figure out, which chatbot works best for your style, the type of research that you do, you get a quick comparison of both. And again, you won't be able to use this. I mean, there's also a limit on how much you can use this per day, but it's a good way for you to do head-to-head comparisons and kind of just figure out which is the one that you want to commit to using for your long-term project. So all the stuff is on the slides. I also put a link to a video that shows you how to run chatbots locally. So they're 100% private. There's resources. And again, if you want to come hang out with me and some incredible speakers and learn how to become more influential with your clients, with your conversations as an accounting professional, come to reframe2024.com. And with that, I leave you. I kind of on the fly answer some of the questions on the chat, but I'm going to go on to the chat later on and try to see which answers I can email you directly. Okay. Thank you very much.